All right, so this is where we're headed. We got a very, very basic cause and effect. We have a cube hitting a box. Very, very basic. There's going to be a couple challenges to get over, and we'll talk about those as we go. So I'm starting a fresh Blender scene, and we're going to look at our timeline down here. So you can think of timeline as simply as put as animation mode. And if I click play down here, we'll see that, okay, now we're essentially in animation mode. Nothing's going to happen, but there's a couple things I just want to point out before we get started. Up here at the top left, you'll see we have frames per second 24. And then below it, we'll see what frame we're actively on. If we come over here to our output settings, this is where we're going to control frames per second. So this is going to be how many frames are in a given second. So 24 is going to be film, commercial, cinematics. And then if you're doing something like games, you're going to want to do 30 or 60. Typically, if you're going in engine, what you want to do is do 30 and then upres or interpolate in the engine itself. So most of the time you're going to be sticking with 24 or 30. For this entire course, we're going to be sticking with 24. And then over here, I'm going to go ahead and pause. Over here, we have start and end. I'm going to make this 1 and 72. So now essentially what we've just done is we've made our animation 3 seconds long. So 24 times 3, 72. So we still don't have any actually movement yet, right? So we're going to turn on auto key right here. And this is us creating a keyframe. And we don't have a keyframe yet. If we go over to our transform properties right here, we'll see all this is going to be grayed out. And essentially, as soon as we move this like this, boom, we have our first keyframe. So all this is going to turn yellow. And then we have our diamond right here. And that's going to be our first keyframe. And if we move our time slider like this, we can simply move it again, right? And then we have another keyframe. So as we scrub through here, we'll see that we have animation. Very, very basic. While we're on the frame that has a key, it's going to be yellow. And then anywhere that it doesn't have a key, it's going to be green. So this is really good. It's going to be a practice run. I would just move this around, play with scale, play with rotation, kind of get dirty. We're going to kind of clean this up in the next chapter. So play around. Now if I hit play, now we have our animation. Very basic. We'll want to get to know some hotkeys. So I have a hotkey cheat sheet. This is going to be in the starter kit download. The most common one is going to be spacebar right here. So spacebar is to start and stop the timeline. And then we have left and right arrow keys. This is going to scrub the timeline. And then we have up and down, which is going to jump to keyframes. And then we have shift left and right, which is going to jump back and forth to the end and start of the sequence. And that's it for now. We'll get into some more as we go for sure. But get to know those ones right now and you'll be good for this first couple chapters. And then if we kind of play around here, I'm going to show you guys the next problem that we're going to run into. If I simply try coming here to scale, you notice that our scale is going to be off, right? There's no way to actually just scale it on one axis. And now that brings us to orientation, which we're going to talk about next.